Howdy
But
doody.
how's it going?
Good.
So yeah, the community's tossed around a couple 3D renderings.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
Have you
been
seen that?
a little bit of stuff going around. Are you what specifically? You mean
What?
stuff from Strange Clan or?
Yeah, 3D Passage
Oh, yeah, yeah. So
and
Passage, okay, so Passage is the platform that we built, which is kind of the platform that we're building the Strange Clan on top of. That's kind of where we have the core infrastructure for the decentralized cloud compute and stuff like that. So, yeah, Passage is live. We've done real events and all sorts of engagements with the Passage platform for brands like Capitol Records, Amazon, Scooter Braun. Done a lot of fun stuff. So, yeah, we have working software. It is by no means the Strange Clan game. We're developing some spaces now to bring people in to kind of demo the experience, get an understanding of what it's like and the level of quality that we can deliver. But we're not actually going to have an alpha for people to start testing game functionality probably until like Q2 of 2022.
okay, right on.
Yeah. But yeah, that said, the stuff you see out there is real. We actually meet, my team meets so our studio is called Three Division. And if you follow your way down the rabbit hole, most people start with Strange Clan and end with Three Division. So Strange Clan has 6,000 followers as of this morning, and Three Division has 50 followers. So, we can tell where the exciting part of what we're doing is. But our studio, we're all distributed across the US. We have a fully remote team. I've got guys in Phoenix, Dallas, Williamsburg, out in California. And so we all collaborate remotely through the Passage platforms. We have a virtual office. And if you've seen the Passage 3D Twitter page, you've seen some of those videos. And we've shared some of them on Strange Clan too, which may be what you've seen going around.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? It's Kevin. I'm sorry I'm late, guys. Every time I come here, I have to take a weird path. Is this Lex who's talking?
This is Lex. Yeah, representing.
Hey, man. Good morning. And I like what I'm hearing so far, so I don't want to derail you. But I just want to say hello and hello, Osmonauts and everyone who's listening. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, my goodness, this community is truly phenomenal. Yeah, it's been wild. People in the Discord have all seen, anyone who's here from the Strange Clan Discord knows how crazy things have been recently. We've had tons of people funneling in, but our number one goal, is to preserve kind of the really sacred community that we have as cosmonauts, as osmonauts, Akashians, and so forth. Our blue friends and so forth. But
wait,
yeah.
Who are our blue friends?
Sentinel.
Just Sentinel.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yep.
I didn't know that that's what we were. I didn't know I forgot that's what we were calling them.
Oh,
My
man.
bad, blue friends.
No, it's all good. I put it's cool because we're introducing a lot of new people to the space too. I put Wagme.
Is anyone speaking right now, or is my internet
It's
just
probably your internet,
bad?
but you probably can't hear me saying that.
Yeah, I think it might be you, Sonny.
Hello?
There you go.
Can you guys hear me?
I got you now.
Yes, we can hear you
Loud and clear.
He's traveling right now, so probably spotty area.
No, it's all good.
Hey, Sonny.
We'll just let him
just sort it out. Yeah.
Yeah. He'll hear eventually, and when he hears us, he'll know.
Yeah. He'll get here.
Hello.
I put
hey, so
I put Wagme in the Discord. Go ahead. Yeah, please.
Oh,
hello.
Hey, what's up? You're hearable. This is a feature of the Spaces chat, actually. Sonny connecting.
Yeah.
It's
a bit we're doing.
The thing it's a bit. It happens every time. And also, I'm a feature as well. I always come late, and I'm like, guys, I always forget how to get into Spaces. So okay, Lex, when I'm going to speak from this as a person who's like very like I dove into the Discord. I haven't read everything. I did pick up a
Yeah.
wand and went down
There you go. There you go.
magician's path. Immediately questioned whether I should have gone the hammer smash route.
Yep.
And I'm just curious from your perspective, because I missed the first like 4 or 5 minutes of your guys' convo. Was there something that attracted you to this, or do you have a connection to this, to the idea of this kind of RPG or like gaming projects, you know, or not?
Yeah.
Just curious.
No, totally. I mean, ultimately, our goal from the beginning with Passage was to make a more personal virtual experience,
Okay.
right? So that was what was really fundamental, was the just make an experience. And I'm a dad. I've got 3 kids,
Right.
you know, and so my RPG grinding days are not what they used to
Fair
be.
enough.
And so, you know, for me, I wanted to make something, and we've kind of iterated this story and community principle. Those are our kind of our key principles.
Okay.
With Strange Clan, but also with Passage. And that's really what I wanted to create in this game. Yeah, I'm deeply connected to the world of storytelling and visual storytelling. There's a lot of those things that are important to me. Yeah, I grew up on N64, Majora's Mask, Pokemon. Like Zelda is probably where a lot of my thematic roots go back to in terms of gaming.
It's a good link.
But Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, absolutely. So there's definitely a lot of passion that I have for the game space, but ultimately also just community and storytelling. I think for one, we've got a huge lack of quality games, but then especially so in the blockchain space, it is terrifying seeing some of the stuff that's being put out as a complete game, right? This is a game when ultimately maybe it's a game skin dropped over DeFi, maybe it's goodness, you know, somebody who just said somewhere on a roadmap, like, yeah, we're going to do a metaverse. And it's like, well, what's it going to be? And it's like, well, I have no idea, but we're going to do it. It's like,
it's going to be metaphysical
ambitious.
oxen dancing on a beach.
Right. Yeah, as far as we know, you know, and it's just, there's no thoughtfulness.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the benefit that we have is we've been working in this space for over a year, and we've been in, you know, 3D, and we've been in the design space for 10 years. But we've been specifically working on 3D VFX. We've been in the kind of 3D virtual space for about 5 years. And over the last year specifically, we've been working on this platform, Passage. So we have a background in interactive, a background in, you know, communication, virtual communication, making something immersive. So if you go to Passage 3D on Twitter, you'll see, well, I've got a picture of me and Sunny. I've got a video of me and Pong from Tendermint. And we've got we've got Cryptocito in there too. I mean, again, we've got a platform that people can actually join us in our virtual space. And that's unfortunately far and ahead of a lot of the other projects out there where they're just kind of writing blank checks and making promises.
Right. Well, that is reassuring. From what I discovered just going into the Discord, maybe I'm biased a bit because I do love Osmosis. I love the Cosmos space, and I'm excited that you know, an NFT gaming project has been born, you know, or you know, is coming through. So I have some of that bias, but it also really felt like it was very well presented, and I liked the sort of choose your path entry point, the graphics, the designing, the thinking about your sort of journey, and you know, even though obviously, as you said, the game is not like, it's not functional yet. Seeing also that you guys have this sort of grounded experience in 3D and you know, virtual spaces gave me a lot more confidence than, you know, I don't know, thousands of projects that are minting 1,000 avatars that are going to be a game at some point in the distant future. You know, it just,
well, and let's be honest, if a quality NFT blockchain game was going to manifest itself, it would have to be in Cosmos. I
Yeah.
mean, the synergies here, the alchemy is just right in this space. Because I mean, think about it this way. Who was it? Oh, Illuvium. I was actually talking to Adrian about Illuvium, and they're doing incredible things. I am,
Yeah.
so much stoked for
That
what they're
game
doing
looks
with Illuvium.
exciting.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But fundamentally, it's built on AWS, right? So great, you've got your NFTs, you've got your tokens, whatever you have from the ecosystem that's decentralized, fantastic. But then where's the value going to go if AWS says, "Oh, we want a cut of this," or "We don't like how you're..."
Hello? Oh, you just cut
Hey,
off.
sorry about that.
It's all right. You were just
Yeah,
cutting off.
that was
when
my phone dictating how long I'm allowed to spend on Twitter.
I think that was I think that was Amazon censoring you.
Exactly. Oh yeah,
Because
yeah.
you were just
Hey
talking some
Siri,
smack
yeah.
about AWS. But
Right.
so you're saying if they buckle or they're like, hey, we want a fee or something, then it kind of could put the game world in peril.
Right. Not your servers, not your game, right? And so ultimately, that's why we're looking toward, and to be completely honest, we're on AWS too right now, right?
Okay.
But
Fair enough.
here's the thing: a lot of our processes are on Akash, right? And the
Awesome.
the things that we're using AWS for is really where the decentralized cloud space is still nascent, still developing, which is GPU,
Sure.
right? But we're actively working with. So we had a call with CEO of Otoy and Render Token, Jules, and he's super excited about what we're doing. Super excited about the metaverse space. I don't even like using that word because there's so many wild connotations with it. But ultimately, virtual experiences and NFTs. He's super excited about that, and they have decentralized GPUs.
Wait, can I wait? I don't want to stop your flow.
No, go ahead.
When you say there are wild connotations about the metaverse space, can you just hint a little bit at what you mean by that?
Totally. Let me make one point first.
But you can get back to it.
Yeah. So the reason it had to happen in Cosmos is because of people like Akash, right?
Right.
People like making practical solutions. So IBC for one, right? You can't have a metaverse without intercompatibility. And so maybe this gets into that point about the metaverse, which is that for one, no one person is going to make the metaverse, right? And so these projects that claim that we're going to build a metaverse, I'm kind of like, well, that's not just ambitious, it's almost arrogant, because ultimately the metaverse should be representative of the many different people who contribute to the virtual world, right?
It's disingenuous to the concept of a metaverse, which is multiple universes intertwined.
Yes.
So it's like, so you're going to build multiple universes, right? That will have
absolutely
sovereignty and independence and stuff. Oh wait, that's just the Cosmos ecosystem.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's why it has to be built here, and that's why ultimately we're not looking to build the metaverse. We're looking to build tools to allow right now to allow other teams, but then eventually to allow individuals to create their own worlds, right? And they'll be natively intercompatible through IBC functionality for blockchain transactions, through the inter NFT IBC NFT setup essentially. So there's right now we're talking to the persistence team, just incredible teams all across the Cosmos. But and they're one of the contributors for the inter NFT project from the Interchain Foundation. And
that's awesome. I didn't know that.
Intercompatibility, right?
Yeah.
So the goal is that we're going to be building tools that would allow teams to basically boot up a world, right? Customize it, and early on, people will have to be able to create their own content for the world.
Sure.
But eventually, we're going to have drag and drop tools, right? And so the goal is that these worlds would natively live on Akash, so they'd all be decentralized, by definition, simply by the format. They'd be intercompatible by format, and so things like your relationships, your achievements, like all the things that you can own in any particular world will translate across
Oh,
every world,
dude.
right? Because they'll be intercompatible by
That's
nature,
so
right?
awesome.
This is
So wait,
Well, and
yeah.
go ahead,
Actually,
yeah.
I don't want to stop. You're dropping knowledge, so I don't want to stop.
no, this is awesome. I'm just like getting all kinds of fun ideas about Wasmo World now.
Yeah. Well,
Wasmo
here's
World?
the thing.
Yeah.
Well, I want to hear about Osmo World for sure.
Okay, so a couple of things. One is like, so this is whatever for me. This before I even got really that involved in Osmosis. I created this this comedy fiction podcast. Started last year about an alternate universe called Neo Amsterdam, which is like a sort of hellhole cyberpunk dystopian version of New York City. It's just about a DJ that's trapped there, and he's kind of from our whatever dimension and time frame. So I've been talking to other artists, 3D artists from around the world, thanks to the pandemic, making people sort of turn to Reddit and so forth. And so, like, we have already been on this path of being like, well, we want to. This guys are like creating cyberpunk like visual environments, and we're like, we want to help, stimulate and help other people do this and make, create different interlinking worlds. So what you're saying is like, it's just plugging into all these things that, I just finished a full season of this podcast, and like, it's been awesome, but I've always been thinking of like, what's the next level? How can we, take this out of just an audio drama experience? So it's super exciting to hear about the tools aspect, like that you're creating a game, but you're also trying to give people something to create their own content.
Yeah,
really,
absolutely.
really,
Right.
I mean, that to me is like, it's so critical. And then I wanted to hear about your you were saying metaverse can have like wild connotations. I was just curious what you had in mind with that.
Yeah. Right. So when people use the term metaverse, for one, it's either too ambitious, right? Like, I mean, okay, here's the thing. I have lived in a startup business for the last 5 years. I got fired from my graphic design job 5 years ago, and then 2017, beginning of 2017, is when I officially formed an LLC that is our studio, 3 division, and so I've constantly been, and I'm a visionary with no money. It was kind of like the way I was for a long time, and so it's like it's hard to be a visionary when you don't have resources.
Yeah, tell me about
it. And so it was one of those things where I always had to figure out, what's the next step? What's the very next step that we can take in order to get one step closer to this vision, right? And, there's a lot of big picture storytelling things that we wanted to do. And so, but it was always about just what's the one step that we can take. And unfortunately, people are thinking sometimes too far into the future without that conception of like, well, what's the one step we can take now to get us closer?
Yeah.
Right. And so that's kind of what we've done with Passage. For one, we're not, it's great to think, forward, but when people are, subscribing or, prescribing VR or some of these very inaccessible solutions, things that many people aren't using
right. They're not fully
now
adopted
as
yet.
the way that we're all going to connect. Like, oh, that's the metaverse, and it's like, well, no, because then only 1% of people will ever be there, and so it's not representative. Right. But what we're doing, Greg, who's here now, can even attest to this with Passage, is trying to create something that is accessible. You can get in through a link, right now, because it's using cloud computing to run. It's something where we can run, a high-end AAA game engine in the cloud. We're using Unreal Engine right now, and you can run it through your browser, basically just by streaming the experience. Mm-hmm. And so the goal is to make something extremely immersive that is also extremely accessible. You could hop in on your phone, you could hop in on your tablet, laptop, whatever. You don't need a super expensive gaming machine in order to run this thing.
You don't have to strap on a virtual reality headset and full contact kinetic bodysuit.
Exactly, right? But the goal here is giving people the opportunity to do that because we're building this in Unreal Engine. At the same time, we're going to have it set up if people want to download the game and run it locally, they can. And then you can get, uncapped frame rates, you can get 4K resolution, and you can plug in your VR headset if you want to, right? So it's giving something that's creating something that's going to be adaptable to a lot of different play styles, but ultimately is going to be accessible to the lowest common denominator first, right? Without compromising the quality, right? Because it's one thing to make something accessible, and then to make all the compromises. I mean, we were doing WebGL experiences for a while, web native stuff, and it's so limiting. Trying to make something that works on mobile as well as it does on, desktop, it's just it's a nightmare. So we wanted to basically take away all the limits, and yet still make it accessible, right? Because as it is right now, to get a AAA gaming experience, you've got to have a high-end machine. You've got to download 80 gigabytes worth of Call of Duty, Warzone, and then you've got to. It's just so many roadblocks along the way for adoption. When ultimately, what the metaverse should be, is kind of like the next social network, right? It needs to be a bunch of interconnected worlds that are accessible, right? Where communities can easily adopt and get on board, and people can level up the experience or commit more as they're able to, right? Depending on the hardware they have, depending on the time they have, depending on the resources they have.
Right.
So
they can self-select and
wild. Yeah, exactly. Right. And so when I say wild connotations for the metaverse, it's really just like people are shooting themselves in the foot in some ways by thinking too far ahead.
Right. Like everyone's going to be Lawnmower Man or something, or I haven't seen that movie for 20 years, but like some kind of like, I mean, I feel like that's what that's what sells like news segments and stuff where people are like, are you going to live in a virtual world? Like, and it's like, well, it's not, it's just like a much better way to spend your time than Facebook. Or, it's just like replacing some shitty systems or whatever, for lack of a better term, that we already have. And creating new, to me, the community aspect is just, it's so huge. It's such a big part of, it's a big part of online gaming now, but like, I wanted to, so I got a question from Discord. This is from the, I think it's from the Osmosis Discord.
I kind of wanted to get Immasssi up here to talk about some smart contracts. Immasssi?
For sure. Sorry.
Oh no, I think the conversations could blend, which, smart contracts.
This question is about NFT. They're just asking why.
Go ahead.
Why
I'm trying to get him on stage. You go ahead real quick.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe we can let it percolate. But the question is, why does NFT in gaming make sense? What value will NFTs add to the gaming space that cannot be done without them?
I mean, ownership. It's as simple as that. People invest tons and tons of money into a platform where they have no ownership. Why would you do that when you can have ownership, right? Ownership and intercompatibility, right? If you can take those same NFTs on an IBC network and translate them over to another experience or another
the interchain part,
sell them in a marketplace.
Yeah, what you were saying, like you could have a gold helmet that you get in one game and you just bring it to another place. IBC allows you to bring it from chain to chain. You could bring it into another game.
Right. And it doesn't always need to be that linear too. I mean, you can have an NFT that works one way on one place, one way or another place, depending on how they have it set up. But the point is, both systems know what you have, and they recognize your ownership of that value, right? So that's what's important. It's just ownership. If you're going to invest value into an ecosystem, you should get value back.
Yeah.
Okay. Whoop. I think I muted everyone. Sorry, guys. Immasssi, do you want to come up and talk about JUNO and the launch?
Hey guys, how's it going? Yeah, thanks for the invite. Yeah, give me maybe 2 minutes because like my puppy's destroying stuff in the house right now. So,
nice.
Okay, we got Krypton. Do you got a question?
Oh, yeah. Sorry if you guys can hear me clearly. I'm driving a semi.
Loud and clear,
brother. Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. So you guys are just going on about NFTs and gaming and interoperability. First of all, I fucking love the whole Osmosis space, and it's been a huge game changer from me. I've been here from day one,
Amen.
and I fucking love it. Every day it's just a huge update. And, the hype never stops, and
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, fuck man, it's just the best. But so NFTs and gaming have been kind of a big thing that I've very much been interested in, not only from a gamer standpoint, but wanting to produce my own books and card games with the books and a bunch of other stuff. And even doing, VR, AR, space kind of stuff. Like I don't remember that guy's name yesterday, but he did a drop. I think it was Baba or something like that, where he had these VR spaces where he was finding stuff inside, or he had like a search inside the VR space to find another NFT that you then get rewarded with. But I'm digressing.
Oh, that's cool.
Right? I thought that was super fucking rad. My question was, with the interoperability, which we all love, it's fantastic. The IBC is working great. The question is that when you've got these NFTs that are in-game items. Oh shit! Shit! Can you hear me still?
Yeah. Are you getting pulled over by the cops?
No. The earbuds and the phone kind of freak out. So.
Okay. That's a better problem.
Yeah, for sure. So I was going on about the swapping items through IBC, NFT items in game, etc. What is going to be kind of a problem or something that you guys might already have dealt with? How are you going to deal with stats being transferred from not only platform to platform, but game to game? It's something that kind of came up in Sword Art, I think, where
totally.
They swapped from the one world to the next world, and his physical stats were there, but his item stats were all missing. They were just all blank key slots.
Yeah. Right, and see that's something that we've thought about specifically just around, I mean, even this, trying to plan a whole game in order to get the right information on the NFTs, right? When the game's still in development, right? Like that's crazy. Like how do we make sure that we're setting things up? And part of it is you put the information on the NFT that makes sense within the ecosystem, so that all the characters make sense together, right? But then whatever game you're using it with can interpret that information however it wants, right? So you've got 20 strength and 10 magic, in one game. That can mean that can apply one way in one game and one way in another game. Each game or each experience doesn't have to be a game, can just do with that information what it wills, right? And so there's going to be some effort on the part of experiences to have a system for incorporating that kind of information, and there will be standards that develop, and so that it's easier to have more compatibility. But ultimately, the first standard we need is just making those assets, those resources accessible to each experience. And then if they want to include a collection of NFTs in their experience, they're just going to have to set up some kind of protocol for how that information gets interpreted. So it's really up to the experience to make sure that that's going to make sense for their game. It will certainly not, at least not in the beginning, be something that just works, automatically. It's going to take, some effort for people to be able to say, hey, we really want to have compatibility. And so, in the Passage ecosystem, we're going to want to develop standards and prescribe standards that people can use. But at the same time, recognizing ultimately what we're trying to do is build tools, and people can build whatever they want with it. We're going to try and program in as much intercompatibility as possible so that these worlds that people are building from this, marketplace of NFTs will have fundamental utility, and there will be a solid base layer of functionality that translates naturally. But yeah, when it comes to different mechanics and different storytelling devices and different experiences, there will always have to be some kind of interpretation layer until we have more robust protocols and systems for how these things should look.
I think Immasssi, are you ready? That's awesome.
Yeah, man, I'd love to jump in on this because what I can present basically from our side is that we have on JUNO right now team working on Cosmoverse. So it's basically an NFT marketplace as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's pretty exciting. Yeah, so we're pretty far along. Currently, it's deployed on the testnet, and you can test it. Anyone can test it out. And so with the next big upgrade in a few weeks, once Cosmoverse hits 1.0 hits, anyone can mint their own NFTs to the mainnet. And yeah, so this is really exciting. Yeah.
That's awesome. And that's one thing that we've been asking everybody about is like again, what standards are we using, right? Because so are you guys using the Cosmoverse NFT contract?
Yes, exactly. Yep.
That's awesome. Super cool. It's just really cool to see, how different teams are approaching this because man, right now NFTs on Cosmos are very, very nascent. So there's a lot of opportunity
Yeah.
here to develop the standard, to develop the layer of intercompatibility. Obviously, we have IBCs, we have a huge advantage over other ecosystems, and we also have sovereign chains, right? This isn't Ethereum where everything's Ethereum. It's not all ERC 720, 721. And so, yeah, it's unique.
I
and
had-
I think it's cool seeing this evolve.
Lex, I had a similar first thought about the standards question because I maybe it was a few weeks ago I was on Twitter and I was asking, I think it was the folks from Pylon, or Pylon's
Michael. Yep.
Yeah, and it was like they were like, we're working on a standard, NFT because I guess the I don't know, the SDK or the sort of there is not an official one, I guess, except for the Cosmwasm. I am curious about this because it does seem like, I mean, I'm excited about the early activity and people jump starting it, but I'm also curious, like, yeah, how it's gonna, how you guys, is this the first time you guys are asking each other that, or like, is this question still up in the air?
Well, okay, so basically, this is kind of the journey we've been going down, and I mean, it's really interesting because we're talking to a lot of teams and trying to figure out what is going to be the future of NFTs on Cosmos. Now, here's the reason the stakes aren't super high at this point. If people have to pivot, right? Let's say there's one format or one structure or particular contracts that get adopted most widely, and that's what people want. The cost of having a collection pivot and do some type of burn and mint where they have they pivot to a new contract or a new format is incredibly low on Cosmos, right? I mean, you're talking pennies per person who wants to upgrade their NFT, the new contract. So it's not the same. There isn't the same kind of stakes as it would be on Ethereum if people had to pivot somehow, where you're spending hundreds of dollars per contract during peak usage.
Oh gosh, that's yeah. It makes me want to vomit.
Yeah,
I've
exactly.
think about that.
So we have a better foundation to begin with, one. But at the same time, the Inter NFT project has contributors from, and I didn't even realize this, even outside of the Cosmos ecosystem, the Polkadot Kusama teams are contributing to the Inter NFT project, which is being run by the Interchain Foundation. And so, we're actively, the community is actively working on contributing to this IBC native NFT standard. So there's a lot of opportunity there, and that's one of the things too that we've been talking with the persistence team about. And ultimately, again, this is the Cosmos community. We're gonna have a lot of people who build highly functional tools. Then everyone's going to enjoy it. I think ultimately this is going to culminate into an incredible marketplace that's going to have more adoptability and more adaptability than any other. And our goal primarily is to drive volume in Atom, right? And that's what I think is going to be unique about the official Cosmos NFT marketplace, is that it's going to be a place where people can support Atom transaction volume, right? Ultimately, one of the things that makes OpenSea feel official is that you're not spending some random meme coin, but you're actually investing in and contributing value through Ethereum. And contributing volume. And that's not the most important metric, but it's almost a community thing as well. So ultimately, we're all going to make it. I think we have the best foundation over other communities. And yeah, it's there are multiple teams contributing to this NFT ecosystem as it
I want
develops.
to pivot a little bit because we're getting pretty far into it, and maybe talk a little bit with Sunny about some of the things that Osmosis has going on. Any kind of new updates on the development side, Sunny? With Osmosis?
Yeah, so yeah, so with Osmosis, we are some of the things that's going on, working on the BEC32 IBC routing. So not sure if not sure if this has been shared or not, what we're working on, but what the feature basically is you know how like every Cosmos chain has its own like custom prefix on their addresses. So like for example, the Cosmos Hub has the Cosmos, and Osmosis has Osmo, and Akash Network has Akash, and Juno has Juno. And so, you know, currently all these prefixes are like, you know, it's just meant to make sure you're interacting with the right chain. But what if we could use those to do more? And so, what our team has actually been working on for a little while is the ability of building sort of an on-chain mapping between BEC32 prefixes and IBC channels. And so this will be really cool because what will happen now is I could just make a send transaction, a normal transfer message from, let's say, I have tokens on Osmosis. I could send it to an address that looks like Cosmos1, blah, 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 whatever the string is, whatever the letters are. And it will actually send the tokens as an IBC transfer to that address on the Cosmos Hub. Or if I send tokens to Juno1, blah, 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 it'll know how to send that to that address on the Juno chain via IBC. And so I think so this is really cool because it will like make the UX of IBC much
That's
better.
great.
Yeah, and like so like wouldn't it be cool that like, you know, let's say you have atoms on Coinbase or something, and you could, when you put your withdrawal address, you could put in like an Osmosis address or something, and so the atoms will get automatically withdrawn directly into your Osmosis account. And so this is a feature our team has actually been working on for a little while now, but you know, it's actually coming very close to completion soon. We've actually had to build a really cool. One of our team members, Eugen, built a really cool testing suite for it, which you know, currently how IBC has been tested, you know, in the official Cosmos SDK repo is usually like, you know, you make it's not the cool. So the new testing suite that we built, what it does is it actually spins up multiple chains in Docker containers and like uses the Go relayer to like send actual IBC transactions in between the chains and stuff. And so we've been using this new testing suite that we wrote to test this new BEC32 IBC feature. So yeah, that should be coming pretty soon.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah,
BEC32
it's pretty
routing?
awesome.
Just the idea that you can, because I know that many people get lost just in that hop from like an exchange to Kepler to IBC. So if you could get it directly,
Yeah.
it's just you solve all these customer, you know, support questions and confusion. It's like a gigantic shortcut. It's brilliant.
I wonder if that could actually help navigate the NFTs with their stats and stuff.
Dude, anything that simplifies the space, yes.
100% on
I mean,
that
so I
one.
tweeted a couple of weeks ago. I tweeted a couple of weeks ago. I was like, you know, everyone else in the blockchain ecosystem is starting to think about like cross-chain communication. You see all these like new bridges and all that kind of stuff popping up, but it's like with Cosmos, we've been thinking about cross-chain communication. Not only thinking about it, we've been building it and shipped it over the last 3 years, and now we're focused on cross-chain composability and like how do you make the UX. You know, one of our stated goals within the Osmosis team, we kind of see it as like 4 main feature or feature verticals that we're building. One of them is interchain UX, and part of the goal is like how do we make the UX of cross chain as good as the UX of a single chain. And so I think this feature is sort of like one of the first of many features that'll come from our team, but also just teams throughout the Cosmos ecosystem on like really the next step towards like interchain UX.
That's awesome. I think it's going to be huge too for some of the precedents that we sent toward NFTs, because that's going to be another area where people coming from other systems that are all one chain, whether it's Binance Smart Chain or Ethereum or Solana, they're not going to have that conception. So we need a user-friendly experience that helps people understand the value of interchain NFTs and interchain tokens and all those things.
Hey, can I grab another question real quick, directly related to that?
Yeah.
So definitely that's exactly what you guys should be after right now is taking those shortcuts for the customer, for the user interface. And so far, Osmosis is working really, really well. It's clean. I was able to get a very new person in the space into it within, 10 text messages. So, it may seem kind of daunting to most super brand new people, but, if I was able to explain that in that short amount of time, it's, fantastic. You guys are doing something right. So my question is there going to be a quick and easy, down and dirty way to pump out an NFT with, basically a web browser tool, kind of like what Rarable's doing in the space? And what chain is it actually going to be mostly on? Because I've been hearing you guys talk about back and forth with JUNO and Osmosis and whatnot, and I wasn't quite sure where you guys were going to be starting to put those NFTs.
Sorry, what do you mean by compound the NFT with the browser?
Oh, not compound.
I think you meant create.
Create. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean that is exactly what's developing. Those are the kind of questions that we've been asking as well. And in terms of Cosmoverse contracts, so and you can correct me if I'm wrong because I am Wolf contract. I'm not a developer, but I've been working in this space, around my team for a long time, so I can, for the most part, keep up. But the Cosmoverse contracts that are being used to mint NFTs are actually going to be on the Cosmos chain. Whereas depending on how other people do it, and I would need some more technical help from the persistence team, from Tej and them, to explain how the inter NFT concept is going to work. But he described it as a similar hub and spoke model to the way that the Cosmos Hub itself works, where they could be minted on any chain, but basically still have the same intercompatibility and connection. So there's still kind of a central accountability in terms of the uniqueness of the NFTs, but it wouldn't necessarily matter which chain it was minted on.
So I guess what my question more of was, is somebody building a super user-friendly tool to create NFTs to be minting? Like
totally, 100%.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, that's a lot of people are doing it actually, which is what's awesome.
Dope.
So the Pylons team is doing it. The JUNO team is doing it. And there have been teams that have done stuff.
The Stargaze team is doing it as well, which is why I just added them on as well.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and that's the thing is there's going to be a lot of, I mean, the same way that we've seen Cosmos dexes arrive, right? And there's been options now, right? And we've got people using Osmosis, and obviously that there's been a lot of excitement specifically around Osmosis, but there are options, right? There's different user experiences, there's different opportunities, and there will be different opportunities going forward.
Wait, I lost. Are you guys? Did you lose him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't hear him either.
Yeah.
Can I? Someone was. I think it was Sonny. You said you added somebody else who's doing NFTs. Who is that?
Hey, folks. Shane from Stargaze here.
What's up? Welcome, Shane.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, so we're also building an NFT market.
We're going to ultimately, I think, arrive
on Cosmos, and yeah, we're gonna make it super easy to mint. And we're also gonna have like a curated section for that's gonna focus a bit more on kind of like higher quality content.
Okay.
And we're also building on top of CW 721 from Cosmoverse. And you know, I was in the original hackathon team that came up with Cosmoverse, and so it's just amazing to me to see its adoption in Terra, and now its adoption in the Cosmos community. It's just amazing to see that. And yeah, we're going to try and create a very kind of simple UX around NFTs, and hopefully interchain NFTs as well going forward.
How do you guys see these being used in like liquidity pools? Is that something anybody does right now?
Well, what?
Yeah, so there's a lot of like cool stuff that's been happening recently on, so when it comes to NFTs, I leave the the art marketplaces and stuff. I think to like team, people who are building stuff like that, like Stargaze and the JUNO team and stuff. But what I've been thinking a lot about is how do NFTs get used in DeFi? Because obviously, DeFi is what I spend most of my time thinking about.
Yes.
And I think that what's currently happening with like these art, NFTs. I mean, NFTs is just sort of a data structure, really. I think the future of DeFi we'll see involving more and more NFTs, right? Like we see this happening. I think like the Uniswap V3 liquidity positions are like sort of the first example of like something that used to be a token, your LP shares on Uniswap V3 is now these NFT positions. And I think that, more financial stuff, if we want to like explore the full space of like financial DeFi possibilities, there are things that are going to be fundamentally non-fungible. And so how do we still interact with those things in the DeFi environments that we're used to, such as liquidity pools? And so there's a lot of really cool stuff that's been going on in Ethereum DeFi right now about how do you fungify NFT positions and like make them more liquid. So some of the cool things that have been happening, one is fractionalization. So you have these like giant, you have these like NFTs that are worth like, millions of dollars or whatever. And then what people have been doing is sort of tokenizing shares of those NFTs. And then so you could take like a crypto punk that's worth like millions of dollars and split it into like a million tokens, and each one worth $1. Now you can and if you can, if that token itself can be like liquid enough, you can put that into a pool. You also have things like, if you read the Paradigm blog.
I have a question because you seem well steeped in this. Is there, when an NFT is fractionalized, can you recompose it?
Yeah. So there's different ways of how you recompose it. So oftentimes what will happen is like you basically, generally what you want is a way of plausibly recomposing the NFT. And what that means is that, let's say you have like you split something into 1,000 shares, and let's say you own 999 shares of it, but there's like one person who holds like one outstanding share.
Okay.
Right? You don't want to make it so that one person can like prevent the reconstruction of this NFT from ever happening. It's kind of like, it's very similar in a way to like, if you ever like research like eminent domain stuff where like people like have like, let's say to build a large project, you need to buy 1,000 plots of land and you buy it from 999 of them, but one person refuses to sell their land.
Right.
And it's like, how do you deal with that, right? And that's where like eminent domain laws actually came into play. But
That's crazy.
so that's why you kind of actually do, right? And so it kind of involves like a similar thing with like this NFT situation where it's like, what if it's in the social good to like reconsolidate this NFT into a single piece again, but there's one holdout. How do you deal with that? So I believe the fractionalized team, which is one of the teams that is working on fractional NFTs. I think they have one approach where they actually have like a method where like if the majority of like 51% of the shareholders can do a forced buyout of any minority share. So if you have 999, you can do like some sort of forced buyout, and they have some like mechanism of how you price that what the forced buyout amount is.
Wow.
Then Dave White. So on the Paradigm blog, he released a new post maybe last week or something called. It's based off this idea called martingale shares, where it's basically this like probabilistic thing where like if let's say I have 70% of the shares and you have 30% of the shares, then there's like this probabilistic thing where like there's a 70% chance that I'll own the NFT and there's a 30% chance that you'll own the NFT, and that's how you can like you can have it so you can settle by just like triggering the probability system. So that's actually a different.
But is there really true ownership if you force this buyout? If you own that 1 out of 1,000 shares and you don't want to sell it, like you don't basically own it if someone can force you out of the position, right?
Well, frankly, in that case, you don't really own it, right? Because you only own 1,000, 1 of 1,000 shares, right? So in that instance, even in the real world, you only own your share. And that's a fair point, right? To say like, okay, well, do you even necessarily own that share? And I think that should just be more a question of, okay, is this maybe if you want that kind of absolute ownership, then fractionalization just isn't the best way to go into things, right?
Correct. Yeah, like the concept of ownership as a concept is very weird, right? Like, like we mentioned, like, okay, do you really own? We talked about land, and people usually think about owning the land, but do you really own it if the government can come in and use like eminent domain?
Right, or ask the Native Americans.
And make you pay taxes on it too.
Or ask the
yeah, exactly.
other people who were there before. It becomes I have a feeling we're not going to solve.
Lost you, Kevin.
Yeah, I in general, I think that like the concept of ownership is actually like,
well,
different models of ownership are really interesting to me. This is going to get slightly weirdly political, but
do it.
Okay.
I think we're game
let's
for it.
go. I've always been like, one of the things I've had like, why are nations tied to geographic like localities, right? Like, why can't you have, I agree with the idea of nations and like people should be citizens of like nations and stuff, but like, why can't you just have open borders and let people come into like the physical space that is I'm an American, so the physical space that is the United States, but that doesn't mean that you have to let them be citizens, right? Like, but like, so and why not have this like concept of like digital nationhood rather than like physical based?
So,
and then
we don't have physical IBC yet.
Right. But so then I read, if you guys know the book Radical Markets by Glenn Weil, and he kind of like came up, really popularized this idea of Harburger taxes, which is this like mechanism of like, how, you pay, you self-declare the value of a property, and then you have to pay that every, a percentage of that as tax every year. And if not, then it gets like re-seized back. And like, it's basically this like interesting claim of that, like, property is a monopoly and it's like causes a social cost upon everyone else, and you have to pay for that. And okay,
interesting.
Long story short, I don't really agree with that idea, but what it made me realize is like, holy shit, there's so many different like notions of property rights, and like property, and these different notions of property rights might be like mutually incompatible. Like the traditional Western norm of like property is like this like innate thing that can never be seized versus this like Glenn Wileyan idea of like property rights. I don't know if two societies with differing views on property rights can physically inhabit the same space.
Yeah.
And I think that
happened.
That kind of triggered to me.
I mean, that was happening with the Native Americans, right? Because ultimately they had this idea of the land that can't be sold. So yeah, of course you can buy it because no one can own it. Like, what do you mean you're kicking us off, right?
Yeah.
Right. They didn't realize
the idea of citizenship in America. Right. The problem with open borders.
I have a feeling we're not going to solve the property dilemma in the next few minutes, but I love this topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what I think is really cool is that blockchains, you know, I think one of the cool things with NFTs as well is like,
Lex.
one of the cool things with NFTs is that like we can actually do this more rapid experimentation on like different property right models.
Right.
Yeah.
Because now we have like digital property that like not just physical property anymore.
Yeah, that's exciting. Because it seems like the places where these things intersect in the brick and mortar world raise a lot of hackles and people get really pissed. And I mean, certainly there will be conflicts and disagreements. I mean, just when Immasssi was chiming in and we're talking about the fractionalization ownership, but like it's exciting to have a space where we can like play these things out, and explore the conflicts and maybe find some kind of solutions. I think that to me is it's hopeful. It leaves me feeling hopeful about it.
Well, and also a new place of ownership too, right? Because ultimately,
I was going to say we're running a little over an hour now. I don't want to keep everyone. There were some things I wanted to plug for Osmosis.
Oh yeah.
There's a proposal up that Unity wrote for dual incentive models. I think everybody should go vote on that. I'm not going to tell you how to vote, but I think you should vote. It's pretty cool. I think it brings a lot of value.
Yes.
Personally.
This is for the matching incentives.
Yeah. So, so JUNO will, if they want to incentivize a pool, then we'll match that pool with Osmosis out of the current incentive model. So we're not pulling extra Osmo to pump into it, but we're just going to allocate what's already put aside for incentives and match, what JUNO puts in. So
it's the idea of the external incentives. I mean, it was like, I think it was a twinkle in Osmosis's eye in the beginning. And now, I think it's an excellent thing to bring on board and make it more, normal.
Yeah. I think
maybe I can chime quickly in on this. So we're the first chain I think that's gonna do this with Osmosis. So we have proposal number 1 live in the voting phase right now. It actually already reached quorum. So
awesome.
The community is really behind this idea, and so we're gonna have double incentives for the JUNO pools for Atom and Osmosis pairs. And I think this is going to be huge. So people basically, they earn from the Osmosis side, from the JUNO side, and additionally the swap fees. So I think that triple effect is really, it's going to drive a lot of liquidity. I mean, that's what we hope for, at least for now.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of Akash Network was actually the first one to do external incentives, and but
oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. My bad.
But JUNO will be the first one that has this
exactly. I meant with the new
major. Yeah, with the new incentive.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and I think for future projects, Unity was pointing out that this will help kind of bootstrap incentives a lot quicker. Like if they come in ready to put their incentives on, then this will automatically kind of kick in, as opposed to us having to send it through governance every time.
And I mean, if it only comes from the Osmosis side, it's a little bit one-sided, right? And I mean, having it from both sides, you know, you align the communities as well, and so I think this is big. Yeah.
Hey, real quick, just because I keep losing signal and shit out here in the trucking world. You guys were going on about the borders and all those issues, and man, for the last couple of days, I've been definitely considering that whole idea of, you know, borderless society, or really creating basically a crypto society, you know. And for some reason, the Calabria region of Italy came up in another space that I was in yesterday, and man, that whole thing is just like top of my mind right now. But you guys are killing it. I'll let you keep at it.
I mean, I think it would be a great premise for a future community call.
Yeah, it seems like this is a hot topic.
Was there anything else you wanted to plug, or that people wanted to?
Yeah, so
Wrap
there's
up?
something else that we're trying to get moving. It's the marketing DAO. There's a proposal on Commonwealth. There's a revised version of the original.
It's a fantastic revision.
Yeah, I encourage everybody to go check it out, and please give your opinion now before it goes on chain. Seem to have that problem last go around, but we got it on Reddit. We got it on you know, Commonwealth. We've been plugging it on Telegram and Discord, so please go.
I think it's really strong. Yeah, it's really strong, and the people in the DAO, that their bios are great. It's really clear where they're coming from. Like, I think that John Patton did a fantastic job with it, but I'm excited about that.
Yeah, but it's a cool mixture between people with technical background and data analysis, and people who have more of a marketing background, and you know, work with other teams.
Yeah, I did have a question about the Commonwealth, where these proposal you know, discussions are happening, because I think I've talked to Sonny. I mean, I brought it up, but this for Sonny or anyone else. So I was talking to some other, you know, Osmosis users, and they were like, you know, I don't want to go on to the Commonwealth because I don't want to put my wallet on blast. I don't want to like dox my wallet, but I want to be a part of the discussion. And I guess I was just wondering, like, are there any thoughts of some other ways to do that, where maybe you could prove that you have you have tokens, but that it wouldn't necessarily have to be, you know, public facing? I don't know.
Yeah. So one thing, do note that to use Commonwealth, you don't have to connect your wallet. You can just make a normal Commonwealth account, or, you know, that's not. So yes, you don't have to.
Well, that's
use the address.
I'm glad I asked the question then.
Yeah. But then otherwise, yeah, I mean, you know, I think one day that would be a really cool feature where we can like have it so users can. Well, yeah. I can actually swing this by the Commonwealth team as well. If like people still do want to do a login based thing, but like a login with their on-chain account, but then they don't want to like reveal their address to the public. I can talk to the team about
yeah,
that.
like if it was just in whatever hashed or encrypted or whatever, that, you know, I don't know. It seems like that. Yeah. I'm just looking for ways to lower the barrier to entry, because I know we want to have this like heated, active discussion happening there. You know, it should happen in one like agreed upon arena. I feel like that the best way to let's just air it all out. Because I'm thinking about the community support DAO and other proposal, and like just having a conversation like shattered across like every channel, it can be dizzying. And I think but that's really good to know that I think I've logged in just through my GitHub account as well. But that's good to know that you don't have to use a wallet.
Eddie, we should get the Commonwealth team on one of these maybe next week or something we can talk about.
That's a great idea.
Just like how they see that platform develop.
Yeah, that would be a great idea, actually. I think we should do that. I was trying to get Lex back up here. We've kind of run over an hour. This was a really good session. I appreciate everybody coming.
Hey, I'm back. Sorry.
Hey, there you are, Lex. Lex, thank you. Immasssi, thank you for coming. Kevin, Sonny.
Yeah, this has been great.
I couldn't
feel
get
like
to
this
everybody.
has to be continued.
Thank you guys for the invite.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
feel
couldn't
this
get to
has be
everybody's
continued.
questions. So if you have them, you can shoot me a DM on Telegram, Dynamic Manic. You can find me in Osmosis main chat usually in the next hour or so.
Yeah, I posted in Discord and Telegram. People can hit me as well if you have questions. I'm also on Twitter at Barry, whatever. If you're listening to this, you know that.
Guys, may I ask you one thing?
Please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I feel like bad. I just added you.
No,
in.
what if we said no?
Yeah. Yeah, hi. So I represent the business development team at Composable Finance. We are guys super excited on what you are doing, really, and I'm trying for several days to reach out to your BD. So if you could help in that way, that would be amazing.
Yeah,
like,
sure. Just,
I'm searching for a person responsible for like integrations, cooperation at Osmosis.
Yeah, so I mean, depends on what kind of integrations, but you know, either reaching out to people, you know, some community folks like John Patton, he can probably help, or you know, if you need anything with like technical work,
Technical,
just,
yeah, tech.
you can reach out to me.
Regarding tech. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, just drop me a DM on Telegram.
Sorry?
Yeah, just drop me a DM on Telegram.
Uh-huh. Okay. Is it possible you DM me on Twitter or just okay, so
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about
Yeah.
this offline. I'll go ahead and do
All right,
that.
guys. Well, I appreciate everyone coming.
Yeah, thanks, Eddie. This was great. And
Yeah.
I feel like we have to talk more about NFTs. I don't think that we totally cracked this nut, but
Yeah.
it was very fun.
Yeah.
It's great to meet everybody.
We'll see you next week.